Number one. Number two, I've been telling the whole world that things be happening
behind the scenes.
It ain't my place to tell these things.
Yeah.
These ain't my stories to tell. That's not it. It's get way crazier and funkier than this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when niggas be like, oh, you're this and oh, why he went too far. Well, Elliott Wilson, let me ask you a question. Let's say you become editor-in-chief of a popular magazine. And you give out a mic rating system, right? And you give somebody's
PTSD, goddamn it.
And you give somebody's album 3 mics or 3.5 mics who thought they deserved 5 mics.
Yes, sir.
Right? Let's say then that person or people around that person starts to harass you, your loved ones. Maybe they even make threats. Maybe they even
come to your mama's house in the projects.
Whatever the case may be.
I heard.
How would you receive that? How would you think that anything you did would be too far?
I am Savvy Mike, and this is I Am Savvy Mike TV. And old news is new news on Mondays to us, and this happened over the weekend. As you know, the Bigger Picture, they do an episode every week. It's not a daily show, it's a weekly show. But shout out to Elliott Wilson. Shout out to DJ Head as well. Those are 2 respectable guys up there. And up there, they are basically discussing DJ Akademiks getting pressed, or at least that's what the K-Bots want you to think. The K-Bots want you to think that DJ Akademiks got pressed, while Ak is saying there's a recording. I'm saying I wasn't pressed. Niggas had security. I had security. Nobody was pressed. But if niggas want to frame it that way, they could put the footage out. That's what Ak is saying. But apparently DJ Head and Elliott Wilson actually reacted to this and talked about it. Let's listen.
Things like, why are you doing this? Are you being paid to do this? Which there's, we can get to that as well. What is your mission? What is your end goal? And the question that I thought was really interesting was, is this personal to you or is this content? And Ak's answer was, I don't actually know these guys, right? I love Drake, quote, but I don't know him. To you, I get why it's personal. But I wanted to make the point because similar to what DJ Head always says on this program, everything isn't for content. And when you make everything into content, you don't get to decide how people react to your content if they take it personally. And so I think this was another example of, we saw what happened with these people being brought in who are not public figures, and they were brought into this back and forth to become public figures and front-facing, whether that be the women, whether that be Dave, or whether that be Ant. And because they're now in the public eye because of this, not to say you couldn't look them up or that we don't know who they are, but the average fan didn't know these people in that way. Now they're front-facing, they're public, it's personal to them. So when you're making content about them, and they have real life implications, you can hide behind a screen and sit there and drink your Henny, but they have real people, real life that they have going on, and it might affect them. So
I need to stop Jeremy Heck right here. Okay. 1, while yes, Ak is behind the screen, sipping Henny, me smoking a blunt, doing whatever. At the end of the day, this is kind of the same thing with the war in Chirac thing. You can't blame him for antagonizing a situation that was already being antagonized. Drake was bringing the baby mama up. Kendrick was bringing his son up in vague references in Euphoria. And both took it, one took it further and then the other one took it even more further. And Ak was just commentating. Him and Joe Budden were just commentating. Now, I can understand people thinking that he's being paid by Drake and this, that, and the third because he is Drake's biggest defender. But from what I know, from what I can tell, outside of some messages back and forth, I'm sure they're cool. I'm sure they're cordial. But if Drake really fucked with Ak that much to pay him for PR and do all this, that's what I think Kanye was thinking. So I think Kanye was thinking the same thing, like, this nigga Ak must be getting paid by Drake to be saying all that. So Kanye thought, let me go pay him. Because before, Ak didn't care about what Ye had going on up until all of a sudden he cared about what Ye had going on. You kind of gotta read the tea leaves in a lot of ways. You gotta see it. Like, okay, he never really cared about what Ye was doing when Vultures 1 and 2 came. Act wasn't playing PR for Kanye West. Then all of a sudden, they're doing interviews, they're doing streams, they're talking to each other on the phone. He's promoting the album. He's saying the music is good. He's listening to the music on the stream. That's how you know he's being paid. He don't even got to tell me that. I could tell. He's definitely, so, you know, when it came down to it with Drake, this man has been preaching Drake's good name for the past. And at the end of the day, if Jeremy Heck can give thoughts for the first minute, I should give some thoughts too. He about at the same level as I am. He just got a fucking platform and 2 niggas to sit by. So he can give thoughts, I can give thoughts too. Anyways. But regardless of all that, Act should be able to antagonize the situation. A person like me should. Y'all were antagonizing it on y'all side. Like, everybody antagonized this situation. So you can't sit here and say, oh, you were getting paid because you were antagonizing more for one side. No, that's just the side he was rooting for. Y'all turned rap and hip hop into politics. That's what y'all did. Like, y'all turned it into whose side you on. Me, I'm just here for the music. But now it's just whose side you on. It's odd.
I think he was basically trying to make the point, like, yo, yes, you're saying it's not personal, but it's personal over here. And the other thing he said was Ant was receiving voice notes from Drake during the back and forth, which, you know, we've talked about whether there was a conversation before, and it's been kind of clarified that there was some convo. And this brings light to the fact that it was likely a conversation between Ant and Drake, who, you know, Elliott was talking about before, their relationship. They have a personal relationship. But Act basically said, yo, he's getting voice notes. And Ant was getting voice notes from Drake trying to act like a mob boss and saying, yo, we're going to done you, fam. Like, you're done. You're washed. You're a waste man, you know, on his Toronto mob boss shit. And then you see the lyrics in 616 in LA, which make a lot more sense now when Kendrick said, yeah, somebody's lying. I can see the vibes on Act. Even he looking compromised. Let's peel the layers back. Ain't no brownie points for beating your chest, harassing Ant, fucking with good people, make good people to go to bat. So I think this must have been during the time of like push-ups before 616 and before Euphoria, where Drake was probably speaking like that.
What have I been saying for the last year? Heck.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it. I was waiting for you. I mean, not everything is content.
Not everything is content. Number one. Number two, I've been telling the whole world that things be happening
behind the scenes.
It ain't my place to tell these things.
Yeah.
These ain't my stories to tell. That's not it. It's get way crazier and funkier than this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when niggas be like, oh, you're this, and oh, why he went too far. Well, Elliott Wilson, let me ask you a question. Let's say you become editor-in-chief of a popular magazine. Mm-hmm. And you give out a mic rating system, right? And you give somebody's
PTSD, goddamn it.
And you give somebody's album 3 mics or 3.5 mics who thought they deserve 5 mics.
Yes, sir.
Right? Let's say then that person or people around that person starts to harass you, your loved ones. Mm-hmm. Maybe they even make threats. Maybe they even
come to your mama's house in the projects.
Whatever the case may be.
I heard.
How would you receive that? How would you think that anything you did would be too far?
No, you feel like you have to protect yourself. You have to match that energy.
If somebody said then, if they only saw how you reacted to those things, and they said,
again. There's been a rare time when I had a conflict like that, and I won't be specific about it. But then when you try to make it into that personal thing, I would try to make it clear to that person that this doesn't got nothing to do with that. The DJ head voice.
That's not what I'm saying.
You want me to finish? Okay,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. What are you saying?
What I'm saying, the question is, if people only saw your public reaction to the shit that's private, and because you're stand up and you refuse to make those private things public, and they only saw you react publicly to the things that's happening behind the scenes, then those people say Elliott is going too far.
Why is he crashing out?
Why is he crashing out? Isn't that odd to you?
No, because that's all they have to draw from. It depends on what their agenda is. People have different agendas,
right.
You know, and people have different relationships, right? The thing that was telling to me from what Act's recap is that he still has no clue who Anthony Saleh is. Yeah. Which again, once you get to this point where if you are going to be the #1 hip hop journalist and all this type of stuff, which again, I know he does his due diligence a lot of times, but it's a blocking there where it's like, if you know that's Anthony Saleh, look up Anthony Saleh's history, right? Nas and, you know, managing Kendrick after this new regime, but also Future. So the reason why
he
Anthony
managed Nas and Future.
Yeah. So the reason why Drake feels comfortable or is out, because Drake with Future the Prince and Future and Anthony Saleh and Drake and Future the Prince have done great business for years before the falling out. So that's why it's personal, where Drake could feel away and call his man who he's done great business with for years. Not to defend Drake, but I'm just saying it's personal relationships also, like you're saying, who's wrong and who's right. And I think the fact that he's not doing his due diligence of finding out who exactly Anthony Saleh is and adding that context to it, where it's like, if you're Drake, you've done all this great business with Future in 2015 in these years and went on tour. So yeah, then it gets blurry, where it's like he's getting on some tough shit because he feels like this guy who he's cool with is now turned on him or whatever. Everything just gets heightened by that. So I think there's other context to it also. But to your point, no one's ever going to know all the layers of behind the scenes shit. I was never running around all day. Let me tell you all the people that ever threatened me at XXL. It's like, we don't have time for all that. Like, you'd run out of time. But what choose to go public and how you handle that, I think is probably the most important thing about it.
Correct.
And this is why I fuck with niggas like DJ Akademiks, because he's not scared. He's going to bring it to the forefront. While Ak could have chose to just say, hey, I went to the Detroit show, I enjoyed it, loved it, whatever, he could have never told us a conversation even happened. He could have never said anything. He could have kept it hush-hush, kept it quiet. But no, he's not y'all. He doesn't do things for industry plays and all this extra shit. No, he at least wants to tell the people the real. Tell the people what's going on. Somebody has to be transparent. Nobody in hip-hop is transparent anymore. Everybody wants to have conversations behind the scenes, and then when shit blows up in the public, we all sitting here wondering why. That's because these niggas aren't open. They don't tell you anything. They don't want to tell you anything. And that Elliott Wilson is why Akademiks is the number one person in hip-hop media. Not journalism necessarily, but media, because he will at least expose whatever truth he had, whatever his truth is. Now, his truth could be a lie. His truth could be truth. But he'll expose it, regardless of it. He ain't scared to say it.
And the problem with this type of thing is because there's so much personal shit that did go on in real life. The fans are drawn by all the personal drama shit, and they're trying to manifest the stuff even real. Well, how much more can I find out about Whitney from Kendrick's Woman? Like, they're trying to participate and sort of fuel this sort of thing because there seems to be a sort of not closure to this whole battle. You know, and closure doesn't have to be guys is piecing it up, because I don't see that happening. But it just seems like Anthony and Dave expressing their frustration to Ak about how they can't fan those flames, right? That keeps going. That part keeps going. And they want to be private people. Anthony Saleh is a very private person.
Super.
Dave Free is a private person.
Super.
So it's hard to uphold that when this has hit such a stage of where we're at right now. So I think it's great that they had that conversation. I would answer the last part where you ask about is if you're asking the Akademiks, is this personal to you as a content? It's content to him because it's why he makes his bread and butter. He profits from it not by getting a direct check from Drake or his camp, but by the millions of streams and everything he's built with the access he does have. And then he'll get his money from the labels and other shit.
And the steak deals. The steak deals owned by Drake.
I mean, all things that help. Business deals are things that stepping outside of that. But the content he gets is what fuels his thing. He's an independent contractor who has done payola, has done all these things, admittedly. So there's no bounds to what he will do to profit. So therefore, he doesn't have to be as directly with someone else's agenda. His agenda is his agenda. It favors his relationship with Drake because he's the bigger guy, was a bigger guy, and they have a personal rapport. But yeah, it's not personal to him. He don't give a fuck. He'll do whatever to keep his relevancy, make his money, and be in the position that he feels he's the top guy.
Well, and that's the part that I have the biggest problem with is that, like, he doesn't ever have to face the consequences of this because he can stay home. But he's the one fanning this flame. Like, he's posting, whether that's him directly or his minions, he's authorizing the Akademiks TV account, who we've all been on there before. He's authorizing them to put out some bullshit all the time to fan this flame, to continually put these people in the spotlight, to continually fan the flames of this beef, even though they want to say, we won't stop talking about it. That is the main source of a lot of the continued, like, antics after this beef. It starts with him. So he kind of took account. He's like, well, I guess media does play a role. No, you play a direct role in this. And then
y'all see DJ head face while he talking about Akademiks TV. He looks so pissed. Bro, You gotta get Graham, bro. You gotta get Graham. I saw something else today. I was like, this nigga doesn't give a fuck. Like, this nigga in Australia, whoever this grand nigga, he does not give two fucks. He don't give a squat or a piss. He will write whatever he wants to say in that damn caption. That's the violation. That's the crash out right there. Akademiks TV. You want to see somebody crash out on their ops every day? Go to Akademiks TV. If anybody on the other side, see, that's what I'm saying. That's the one getting paid by Drake. I don't even think it's Ak. I think it's Grand. Drake hit Grand with a good little 40K every month, just to keep his foot on his ops next in the captions.
Want to get up there and say what he said on his stream at the end. He was like, well, you know, if Drake and Kendrick, they have a real problem, like they gotta fight or they gotta shoot each other. Shut the fuck up. Like, that's real consequences that you're now fanning once again that you don't have to deal with. And then the other thing that I hate is the hypocrisy of, like, he said to Dave, well, you know, you guys went there, so you can't close Pandora's box. You called them a PDF. And then I guess he did say that, you know, Kendrick's kid was yours. No, reverse that order. He said Kendrick's kid is yours. He said Whitney's name. Like, how many times do we have to go over the timeline of things? And then Kendrick took it there, besides all the behind the scenes stuff that we don't even know about. So I just hate the way that it's framed.
It's just framed in a way of ignorance. That's all.
Yeah.
And the problem with not a lot of people, the problem with a few people is when you don't participate in their world, oh, you don't gonna give me information, I'm gonna just run with what I got. That's problematic.
Yeah.
That's why I don't respect it. That's why I can never be a part of it. But as I've said many times, I'm not willing to.
I'm sorry, I know, but y'all don't really care. This happened over the weekend. Old news is new news. So but he is saying some bullshit right now. He is saying some bullshit. Yes, we're gonna frame it however we see fit, especially when we're not getting context, DJ Head. Like, if we're not getting context to the situation, if Kendrick's not saying nothing, if Dave Free isn't saying nothing, if this person from there ain't saying nothing, if that person from there ain't saying nothing, guess what I am over here, I Am Savvy Mike TV, gonna do? I'm gonna spin it however the fuck I want to spin it, because y'all ain't saying nothing. You give me context, that's something to work with. Here's context. You don't give me context, I'm going to spin the narrative however the fuck I want to spin it. Maybe if Kendrick decided to have somebody out here to defend him, and not DJ Head, because DJ Head isn't, you know, he's not as active. He does a show every week. He works on Sirius XM. He just said it. This is why I'm not active in this shit. Because of these reasons. You're going to have to spin narratives, because if you're going to talk about people every day, or if you're going to talk about people in hip-hop every day, especially not having access to those people, you're going to have to say whatever the fuck you want to say. I'm sorry. Look, prime example. This has nothing to do with nothing but prime example. Danny saw me post the video of Rocky going off on him, and he just thought I was on her side. And it's like, no, I can't post your side to the stuff because it's on Patreon. Like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want from me? But with conversations, with talks, like, okay, and then I heard your video. I heard you really was pushing back on everything. Like, that's just how. But I can't give you that grace that you're asking for if the only thing that's public is what this person's saying. I'm sorry. If the only person, look, I'm sure y'all ask yourselves, why does Michael talk about Ak as much as possible? Like, every day. Is either Ak, Joe, you know that's happening every week. Why? Because that's what people click on. That's what people care about when it comes to what's going on in hip hop. Sometimes they'll click on this. Sometimes they'll click on that. I try to show love to everybody in hip hop media that's talking about hip hop. Like, I try to talk about it. They're just not. Akademiks is the most active. He's on stream every damn day, unless he decides to take a vacation. He's on stream every damn day, and he's usually giving his thoughts and opinions on hip hop, and they trend and they blow up because it's him saying it, and he's still the number one guy in hip hop media. That's just the truth. So what do you expect me to do? Not talk about the number one guy in hip hop media? You expect me to not talk about the number two guy in hip hop media? What do you want from me? Even though number two don't really talk about hip hop. He really don't. But then when other things happen, I try to make sure I stay on top of that. I react to music videos. I do an album review. Like, I tried to venture out. This is not an Akademiks page. This is not a Joe Budden page. This is not a Rory and Mal page. This is not this page. This is I Am Savvy, Mike TV. That's what this is. And I'm just talking about the shit that I'm interested in. Most of it revolves around hip hop and centers around that, and centers around the people that are talking about those things. And that is until I got a platform to just say what I want to say about the shit that's going on. This is what's happening. And I'm trying to create that platform. I really am. I'm trying my best. Whether somebody wants to acknowledge it or not, call me lazy or not, that's on them. But I'm trying my best. But either way, that's why I'm trying to be active. Because regardless of it, it's like, look, I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be objective. But at the same time, y'all can't hide the shits from me. Like, what's going on? And if you don't want to tell me what's going on, then guess what? I'm just going to speculate. I'm just going to come over here. This is what I think is happening. 9 times out of 10, I'd be right. Because I be thinking. And I understand the business. I understand the music industry. I listen to way too many people talk about it. For hours upon hours. I know way too much, to be honest. But I get how it moves. So if I'm to speculate, I'm going to speculate, but that's all it's going to be, especially if nobody's telling me. So I'm going to spin the narrative however I want to. Like, honestly, I should title this video, Elliott Wilson and DJ Head violate DJ Akademiks. I'm probably not going to do that, but I should.
Violate my relationships for content. Everything ain't content to me because I'm outside. It's different when you don't have to be accountable for your words or your actions. Mm-hmm. You get to play however you want to play. When you have to be accountable for your words and your actions, you're beholden to a community, you're beholden to integrity, you're beholden to whatever it is that drives or fuels your thing. But if you're for sale, there's a word for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm not necessarily for sale. And so therefore, I'm not going to profit or benefit in the same way that those words profit or benefit because I'm not for sale. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The other thing is, it's interesting to me when I think you sent us the clips of it, right?
Elliott did.
Oh, Elliott sent the clips. I'm looking at the clips, and I'm like, okay. So first of all, they ran down on him. That's bullshit. Also, if you go back to first episode of The Bigger Picture,
great episode.
Was it 51 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I was talking about that, and I'm just like, when you're just a shitty person to people, right? It doesn't matter how you feel. So first of all, let's get out our emotions. We grown ass men. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm not saying everybody needs to be like me and be stoic. I'm just saying you are responsible for your emotions. When you act erratically, you then have to be beholden to consequences for those actions. If somebody offends you, gets under your skin, that does something disparaging to you, you have the right to have a conversation with that person. It doesn't have to be a full-on beef or back and forth or anything like that. It can just be like, hey, bro, I didn't like this, and this is where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying? If you continue to violate this line that I've drew, these are the consequences of that action, right? Yeah. Then you continuously egress. If you continuously aggress on that line, at that point it's whatever. I said that first episode. When you look at when you look at what he talked about behind the scenes, I've talked about these things. I just didn't say what was happening. Yeah. But aside from what Ant was talking about, and also brought that up on The Bigger Picture too, I'm like, why would you pick on Ant?
Yeah.
Ant don't bother nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Ant is not, like, I get you might have a personal relationship. You might feel a way, but get out your fucking feelings. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You didn't hire Ant. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, I don't look at it like that. I don't look at it like...
At the end of the day, he says he's not for pay, but he is for loyalty. And while that's not a bad thing, it could be a good thing too. But at the same time, you're biased, regardless of it. So, like, and with you being biased, while you're saying you're not for pay, you being biased is getting you paid. It is, regardless of it. Now, while I'm the objective one in the situation, I will always say Kendrick Lamar won this rap beef between him and Drake. Regardless of it, I'm objective. Family Matters is the third best song in that beef. Period. 616 in LA and Euphoria are the two best songs in that beef. That's for sure. And that's honestly why Kendrick gets the win for me. She got the two best songs in the beef. Outside of the top 5, Drake only really had one good song to me. I didn't like Push Ups that much now that I think about it. And I really didn't like Tailor Made Freestyle, especially knowing the fact that he's telling a nigga to call him a pedophile and then he sues him for the fact that I do not like that song no more. Because I hear that verse and I go, Drake, you made the biggest mistake you could make. That was the worst chess move you've ever made a day in your life if you ever played chess. So I'm just objective in the situation. But DJ Head has said, I've known Kendrick since before all of this, before when he was just trying to become a rapper, learning how to rap. I known this nigga in the streets. I know his friends and so you've known this nigga for a really long time. So you're loyal. So my thing is, y'all cannot, because I can sit here and say the same thing. That's what I'm saying about, you could just spend I can sit here and say the same thing. The DJ Head is getting paid by Kendrick to be a Kendrick K-Bot person. Literally say it. Whether it's true or not, it really don't matter because you could really believe that that's the truth because of how he acts. Now, it's not because he's getting paid. It's because he has loyalty. But my whole point in this is if you're loyal to that side, for whatever reasons you're loyal to that side, y'all cannot be mad or accuse DJ Akademiks of being loyal to Drake for whatever reason he wants to stay loyal to Drake. For whatever reason. Whatever the reason is. Whether he likes his music, his biggest fan, whatever the reason is, you cannot be upset at him for holding his mans down. Period. Now, I'm not, Act, and I'm not DJ Head. So when it comes down to it, I can get it because it's the same way I feel about Cole. Regardless of it, I'm biased. I tell y'all that all the time though. Please don't. When I talk about J. Cole, take it with a grain of salt because he can do no wrong in my eyes. He can do no wrong in my eyes. When he apologized, he did some wrong. Don't get me wrong. That was a sad day for Michael, for sure. It was a sad day. I cried. Tears. But, it was, look, we got over it. Cole still shows me why he is the greatest to ever do it. And I'm still listening. And I'm still a fan. So it don't matter to me. So I just think everybody has their biases. And that's just that. That's what all hip-hop always was. It's just now people have their biases. And if you don't play into whatever bias they have, they see something wrong with you. Like, if you're not a Drake stan, it's something wrong with you. If you're not a K-Bot, it's something wrong with you. Like, bro, I just like music. And I think Drake and Kendrick Lamar make great music. Now, while Drake has ghostwriters, and I believe Kendrick Lamar does it all on his own, regardless of it, however Drake is figuring out a way to do it, he's making some good music. I can't be mad at it. Will I put him in my top 20? No. But that's because I hold rap to a higher standard than most. And that's okay. That's all it is. I know. 30-minute video on some old news, new news. But hey, it is what it is. I am Savvy Mike in this. Well, let me know what you think in the comments below, of course, if you're still here. But this is I Am Savvy Mike TV. Peace.